YouTube, that was similar, but they've pivoted recently, and I think they've addressed it in a way that Facebook can't. YouTube has got into enabling transactions and funding, and I actually haven't looked into it, but I'm assuming they're taking a cut of that, and I do think that's where their revenue is going to come from. That could be an entire paradigm shift for all of Google. I would love to see that happen, because I think relying on advertising is what has created the Google that we know today, that a lot of people do not respect. So they may be onto something. I don't think Facebook can be fixed. I think dividing it into different communities, such as this is maybe what they're doing. They're trying to create a business version of Facebook and a politics version of Facebook and a news version of Facebook. If they separate it that way, I think it could work. Trying to lump in all these different approaches together in one newsfeed and one stream isn't working at all.
So hybridization.
So
it doesn't. It turns out to be not quite well and pretty messed up. When we look at Facebook, and it is currently it's currently entering its phase of demise if they don't do something about it. And Mark Zuckerberg will become bankrupt, and Facebook will become redundant and obsolete.
No. He'll never become bankrupt. Facebook will always have. It's like MySpace still makes money.
Oh, really? Seriously?
Zuckerberg, even Facebook will never become bankrupt. They've got a lot of patents. They've got a lot of technology. Even without Facebook, the company itself is fine. It's stable as their revenue is going to decrease. So, being a publicly traded company, there's going to be a lot of kickback there. The share price will drop. Regardless, they have peaked with the number of users. I don't think they're going to grow. I do think they're going to shrink. I think the number of users using it on a daily basis is going to continue shrinking. It's always going to have a place, but just not a prominent place. And Facebook, out of all the social media apps, still is king of mobile. I do think mobile is losing traction too. But while mobile is around, Facebook has definitely got a place.
Yep.
They won't go bankrupt. I just going to think that Facebook soon will not play a major part of our lives like it does today.
So back to
like a lot of people, Facebook is their primary news source. It's the first method that they use to contact a friend.
Like I do.
It's the first application they open in their downtime when they're waiting for something.
Yep, like I do. I usually use Facebook. I usually use Facebook to first of all to get in touch with people who are my acquaintances and I use first of all I use Facebook to send them some messages saying that I like to know more about you. Can I ring you someday, sometime? And usually I do get a positive response from them. I'd say around 7 out of 10, and I do actually manage to succeed in getting more touch and contact with them. So I have to say that in one way or another, Facebook has changed my life. It has helped me somewhat overcome my social anxiety, my even my stuttering, I use Facebook as a medium to to interact with people, to exchange my thoughts and ideas with them. And I use that to first of all to establish a kind of a rudimentary phase of connection. Then I can use this as a pathway for for more for more contacts, for more confidence. I can gain more confidence with people while I use Facebook. I have to admit that. Yeah, and then I can make more videos on YouTube, and through Facebook I can still maintain my connection with the Western world, despite the fact that I am now kind of stranded in China. Yeah. So yeah, Facebook really has helped me a lot. It has helped me a lot. With getting in touch with people like you, with kind people like you. Yeah. So I
actually think that I think that Australia has the highest usage of Facebook from memory.
Really? Even higher than the United States?
Yeah, I think yep. So I think per capita, Australia spends the most amount of time on Facebook.
So yeah, Facebook and
I know we were up there at the top. I think it was number one.
Yeah, both of them really, both of them, they really have an edge. They really have the upper hand, understanding how to motivate and incentivize people into doing things they want them to do. So yeah, based on several conversations we had on Facebook, you mentioned about ways to incentivize people other than money, other than financial reimbursement. So may I ask, what are these? What are those ways to incentivize people other than money?
So, especially as you can buy less and less with money, people will start focusing on how to gain satisfaction with other things. So without money, you've got products and services you can offer, and at the moment we're going through a shift away from products and towards services. So people used to spend their money on buying material things, but now they're spending their money on services that they can use, whether that's online cloud services or getting a cleaner or doing something else. Now, since a lot of services rely on labor and not on having to manufacture a material good, there really doesn't have to be money involved in that trade. There can be an exchange of service for service quite easily. And this is something that's really, really picking up. Another thing is a lot of the population is really trying to gain knowledge, and they're wanting to engage through debates and talks and interaction becoming a predominant form of education. So that is something else that can be used to incentivize people. So people want to know something, and you can give them the answer to what they want to know without them spending money. But in exchange, they might have to do something, or promote an idea, or teach someone else, or
help them.
A lot of different mechanisms that are in place, and all these are working marvelous at the moment. Yes.
Agreed. Agreed.
So I'm not sure if you know about, in education industry, you've got the MOOCs, which are basically groups of people like, there is no student-teacher relationship. Everyone's a student and everyone's a teacher.
So yeah,
basically the
in short,
form is providing the data. Yes.
In short, we need a carrot and a rod to draw a mill. Right?
Yes.
We need a carrot and a rod.
Yes.
To draw the mill.
You can, without involving money, and this is really picking up at the moment. A lot of people want direction. And direction can be given through, there's many ways you can achieve it through philosophy, so thought exercises. You can achieve it through spirituality, believing that your actions have some cosmic effect. So, for example, karma. You can, the same thing, you've got religion too. So believing in a God for certain behavior. But there's lots of people that don't subscribe to a religion or subscribe to spirituality. But they are looking for some kind of reward for their behavior. And that reward can be as simple as recognition from society. It can be a lot of things. It doesn't really necessarily have to involve money.
Do you think?
I think that a lot of people do want to feel welcome, just by providing some kind of environment where they feel welcome and part of the group and feel accepted. That is often reward enough. That is, usually
Do you
all
think,
that you need to give. At the moment in Australia, philanthropy is really taking off. What's that?
Do you think if I can somehow find more ways to incentivize people while I search for more, for more subjects to get more interviews, it will certainly help. As long as I can find more ways to incentivize them, especially the subjects I wish to get a grant of interview from. What do you think? Are there any other way to incentivize them?
Let me think about that.
Interviews. There are some, because I have found many people who seem quite difficult to tackle, and they always claim that they are too busy, too occupied to talk to me, and they just keep saying no. So shall I just keep trying to harass them and trying to find more ways to incentivize them? What do you think?
There could be a couple of reasons for that. So some people don't want to be interviewed because they don't like their ideas or beliefs challenged.
Even just then.
So they don't have security or conviction in what they believe. Other people also are open to interviews, but they do have a lot of people requesting interviews, so they do choose your skill, for example.
So they do choose to
or they may choose to go with someone who might be safer. So, for example, one of the ways to entice people with you is to increase your skills as an interviewer. It means creating a style. Now, the best interviewers are those that take the investigative or the journalistic approach. So they have a line of inquiry. So what you do is when you're talking about a subject, they
will just write down their questions to ask beforehand, and they will just
no. That's not interviewing. That's really bad interviewing. That's advertising. Some people do it. I really don't like it, and I don't think it's a way forward. That's just completely masturbatory. I think the best, the best way to interview is you do need to challenge the person that you're speaking to. So if you don't agree with an idea, you need to poke at it a bit further. Or even if you do agree, but you think the idea is not developed, you need to poke at it. And lots of people go into interviews because they want their ideas challenged, because they want to answer questions and realize where their weaknesses are and try to address those later on. So in order to interview in that way, you need to figure out how to create a line of inquiry. So as a journalist, you need to know roughly what the topic is, but not know a lot about it. And then you put yourself in the shoes of a potential customer of that idea. But a skeptical customer. So you ask a lot of questions, like what you would need to know to get engaged with this, but at the same time, you don't trust it 100%, and you try to poke holes in it. And if you see something that's weak or not really up to standard, you pull at that thread a little bit. So a lot of people that would want to get interviewed to promote an idea may shy away from that because they don't want their ideas challenged. But people who really, really believe in what they're doing are going to flock to someone who interviews that way, because they want to debate and they want to win.
They want their voice heard, and they want their opinions, their viewpoints approved and accepted by the public in general.
Yep.
So that's what's been incentivizing them to, to get interviewed by people, right?
True.
So
here's an example of it. I can give you an example of interviews that get a wide audience and interviews that get a very, very narrowed niche audience.
Go ahead.
And I've only realized this recently because I've been YouTube there's a lot of new personalities on YouTube who have risen up over the last few years, and they do the interview style, but they don't do it correctly. And when you look at their audience, while the numbers might be high, they do tend to be a monoculture. You don't get a wide range of people. So while you're getting your voice heard and your ideas out there, it's a very, very small select people. It's a real minority of people who will ever hear your voice. And that does no good for your cause whatsoever. It will never bring that idea into mainstream. It does create an echo chamber. And I think the best way to point this out is you look at people like Richard Dawkins. Now, I agree with him on most issues. There's a few that I don't, but I do think he's an accomplished scientist and a great speaker. Now, he goes into a lot of debates and a lot of talks inside churches. So he will go into churches and have a live televised debate against senior members of the clergy, sometimes one, sometimes more. And he knows his ideas will be viciously attacked and challenged. But he's that confident in what he believes in, he's happy for those attacks. Now, those debates get watched by a lot of people. They get watched by philosophers, they get watched by scientists, they get watched by humanists, they get watched by the religious. And not only the Christians, but the Jewish will watch it. You get a few Muslims involved too. The audience is extremely wide. You'll probably reach something like that these days. I think he reaches an audience of around 500,000 to 1 million for that one debate. But if you look at who that audience is, they're so different. They're from completely different walks of life, from different countries, huge mix of races, mix of genders. It's a very, very diverse crowd. Now, if you look at what's becoming popular on YouTube at the moment, and this is one of the problems with YouTube, a mate of mine introduced me to, let me get his name, 1 second.
No worries.
Sorry, I've just been watching a lot of this guy recently to try to figure out his interview technique. Uh,
Yeah,